Welcome to the Leadership on the Leading Edge, the inner game of lasting success. I'm Kara Schug, and I'm here today with Dr. Ron Stotts, and together we're exploring what it really takes for high achievers and visionary leaders to move beyond outer success into deeper fulfillment, conscious leadership, and lasting impact.
Yeah, in this series, we're going to go beyond strategies and superficial fixes, and we'll expose the hidden patterns that keep leaders trapped in cycles of burnout, pressure, overdrive. And more importantly, we'll show you how to transform those patterns so that success comes with peace and creativity, with authenticity.
Each episode blends real client stories, cutting edge research, and practical tools that you can use immediately. Whether you're leading a company, a team, or simply your own life, these conversations will give you the inner game advantage.
Now let's dive into today's episode, the inner game of leadership, what billion-dollar CEOs know that others don't.
So today, Dr. Ron and I are going to talk about something that billion-dollar CEOs and truly transformational leaders all know, but most people completely overlook. It's not a new strategy or a clever system. It's the inner game.
That's right. The greatest challenges leaders face are rarely external, they're actually internal. Things like needing more self awareness or greater emotional mastery, along with clarity of purpose and the ability to stay grounded in the storm. When leaders master their inner world, the outer results, culture, productivity, even profits, change dramatically.
So let's take a look at the three layers of awareness.
Yeah, the first layer, we're aware. A leader might say, I need better strategies, better tools, maybe more time. They're aware of the surface level problems. And then there's that next level of awareness. They're kind of somewhat aware. They start to notice the way I'm showing up, themselves, the way that they're showing up, my stress, my emotions actually shapes my team and the results. They begin to notice how they are affects others. They begin to notice that as they modify their behavior, it modifies the reactions of others. That's a somewhat aware. But then there's the subconscious, and this is really the area that either creates most of the problems or sabotages in many ways. But beneath it all, is that subconscious, unconscious, let's say. Conditioning is running the show. Old wounds, fears, hidden beliefs, are shaping the leadership behaviors without the leader even realizing it.
And so, how does it actually show up in a leader's life?
Well, personally, it can look like stress spilling into a family life, difficulty being present with loved ones, or constant sense of pressure that never goes away.
And professionally, it creates cultures of fear, high turnover, missed opportunities, and a lack of innovation. Even brilliant strategies fall flat if the leader's inner game is off.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's turn inward for just a moment. And basically, we're going to do some sentence completions, and it is so powerful, guys. So if you haven't done these before, don't overthink. We're going to ask you to breathe, kind of breathe, take a good deep breath in. And then myself or Dr. Ram will give you a sentence stem, and then you complete it. So if the sentence stem is the ocean is, you might say, take a deep breath in, the ocean is blue. And then the second time, take a deep breath in, the ocean is vast. And every time you might get a little deeper. So let's kick them off with a nice sentence stem, Dr. Ron.
Okay. So, yeah, just letting yourself be present, taking a nice big breath in, and during that exhale, saying and completing whatever comes up. Big breath in as you're exhaling. The kind of leader I most admire, and just finishing that with whatever comes up. The kind of leader I most admire is big breath in. The kind of leader I most admire is looking a little deeper, really recognize it, even from childhood images of what leadership was, perhaps. The kind of leader I most admire is more spontaneous you can be, the better. The more you can just say whatever comes up, the better. If you're saying the first part of the sentence but nothing comes up, that just really means you're looking in your head. And that's not where the answer is. So there's nothing there. Let's start looking into your heart, looking into your gut. Okay, let's move to the next sentence. My greatest inner challenges, big breath in, during with the exhale, saying and completing, my greatest inner challenges. That's great. Listen, more spontaneous, more, yeah, you can be, the better. Big breath in. My greatest inner challenges, looking deeper and deeper each time. First sentence might be what you know you know. Then you go down into what you weren't aware of that you know. Big breath in. My greatest inner challenges. And if you're surprised by what you say, great. Maybe you don't feel it's true. That's okay. It's just a part of you sharing its perspective. One more time. My greatest inner challenges. Great. All right. Now let's move into big breath in. When I slow down, I notice, big breath in, going again. When I slow down, I notice, what is it you see? What is it you feel? What do you become aware of? Big breath in. When I slow down, I notice whatever comes up, just let it come out. Don't edit it. Don't judge it. Don't look for the perfect answer. This is you discovering, you turning your subconscious into conscious so you can see what's running your life. When I slow down, I notice, good. And let's move to the fourth sentence. Big breath in. My team responds best when I, saying and completing that sentence during and with each exhale. Staying with it. You get it now. Just breathe in. My team responds best when I, and on your own, just do 3 more of those. Looking deeper each time. Breathe and go. Breathe and explore. My team responds best when I, one more time. Great job. Thanks.
Guys, if you're paying attention, you might notice that these answers reveal truths that you already know, but you didn't know you know, and so you're not living them. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Daniel Goleman is the emotional intelligence guy. In his Harvard research on emotional intelligence, found that nearly 90% of leaders' effectiveness is linked to their emotional intelligence, not IQ or technical skills. It's about that 90%. Think about that. 90% of us aren't emotionally intelligent enough. I mean, we're praised for being smart when we're a child, and we get into the right schools, we get the right job, and all of a sudden, at some point in the career, things aren't working. What you've done before isn't letting you go into that next level. And that's just because you need to discover more, access more from within yourself. And that's where you become more emotionally, self-aware and emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, and the McKinsey studies, they show that leaders who prioritize conscious leadership practices, and just in case, things like emotional regulation, self-awareness, and authentic connection, they see engagement increase by over 40% and profitability rise 30 to 50%. Guys, the inner game is not just personal growth. It's a serious business advantage. So let's deepen this with another reflection exercise.
I want to just quickly share that 50%, a lot of my clients kind of scoff at that because they see far more profit and productivity increase than that. So yeah, there are no limits, that's for sure. All right. So again, you're going to just be taking a breath in, and this is you becoming more self-aware, you shifting those subconscious into conscious thoughts. If I led from authenticity, big breath in, saying complete. If I led from authenticity, just see what comes out. Let it be spontaneous. If you notice you're trying to think of what it is, that's your editor. You can let your editor take a break. Big breath in. If I led from authenticity, how much your organization change? How much your leadership change? How much your relationships with others, with yourself change? One more time. If I led from authenticity, good. And let's go into the next one. Saying and completing the sentence during and with each exhale. The biggest unspoken truth about my leadership is, what is it? What's the greatest thing? What doesn't work? What do you recognize is supportive for everybody? Big breath in, again, saying and completing. The biggest unspoken truth about my leadership is, looking deeper each time, letting yourself hear that subconscious truth. And breathing in again, saying and completing the sentence again. Good. A little deeper each time, just like that. That's great. One more time. Big breath in. The biggest unspoken truth about my leadership is, might be startling, might be difficult, might be rewarding to say. Good. Let's move into the next sentence. Breathing full and deep, saying and completing. Inner clarity allows me to, let's finish that with whatever comes up. Surprise yourself. Be spontaneous. Big breath in. Inner clarity allows you to what? What does it allow you to do personally, professionally? How does it shift your relationships, handling of challenges? Big breath in. Inner clarity allows me to be honest, recognize the power of that inner clarity. Good. Now let's move into the next one. Big breath in, saying and finishing. My leadership legacy could be. What could it be? What are the possibilities beyond what you've ever noticed before? Big breath in. My leadership legacy could be. What are those possibilities? How would they affect your life, the lives of others? My leadership legacy could be. One more time on your own. Big breath in, saying and completing that sentence.
All right, guys, you're doing great, doing great. So now that you got to go through those set of sentences, do you notice how different it feels when you imagine leading from this place? This is the shift that billion-dollar CEOs make. This is the secret sauce right here.
I share a couple of client stories. One leader I worked with, and Robert, he was a CFO, had built his career on a pretty hard driving achievement. He was brilliant. There's no doubt about that, but he was also exhausted. And his team they felt suffocated when I talked to them. And when he soon after even starting the inner work, within a month, he was recognizing that all those things that he had established and done as a child to protect himself were now sabotaging his life, and began to see that they just weren't working anymore, and began releasing those old narratives And not only did his stress lift, but his leadership presence transformed. He really watched himself transform the relationships within, not only within himself, but with his family and others. And the surprising thing for him is because he became more open, more relatable, better leader, more conscious leader, his salary doubled within 2 years. Because he become the kind of leader that people want to follow. People, they started trusting. They felt like they could connect with him. He started creating more cooperative and collaborative teams, and it just changed the entire organization, of course, and more productivity and profits. So, yeah.
Yeah, we've got so many client stories, guys. I think we should do a whole podcast just on that because it is just so fascinating to see the changes. Another client, Kevin, he was a CMO and he realized that his constant anxiety was shaping the culture. The entire culture was fearful. And so when he learned to regulate his emotions and connect authentically, everything changed. His
Yeah.
team started to innovate again. He was promoted and he was given even more responsibility because he was no longer just producing results. He was actually cultivating leaders, which is what every company needs.
Yeah. And the pathway is clear. It's a matter of learning to breathe and look more deeply. And in breathing, looking more deeply, you really literally are opening up and accessing your right brain. That IQ that we talked about, that intelligence that got us so far, is really more left brain dominant. So as you breathe and begin to look more deeply and become more self-aware, the two hemispheres begin to work together as a team. And then that cooperation really allows you to what I call integrated whole brain thinking, becoming much more creative, imaginative, intuitive, and well beyond that. So the first step is building that self-awareness through reflective practices. The second step is really healing your backlog of unresolved emotions that keep hijacking your leadership and really recognizing that, gee, that doesn't work for me anymore. I'm ready to evolve. I'm ready to become a different, better leader, more effective leader. The third step is aligning your daily actions with your deeper purpose and values. The importance of that is just as what you've done before trained your brain and established those neural pathways the way they were. Once you recognize those aren't necessarily as effective or working in the way you'd like them to, now you're creating new pathways, establishing those by your daily actions and the purposes and values that you share and live. It's not about adding more to your plate. It's about leading from a completely different state of being, one that's really a lot less struggle and a great deal more ease.
And it's true, guys. When leaders actually do this, imagine the changes rippling everywhere. Personally, they become more present with their family, their stress levels drop. And, guys, the best part of all, the thing I think everybody really wants more than anything is the joy returns. They're
Mm.
no longer carrying their work like this awful weight on their shoulders, right? They got some freedom.
Yeah, and professionally, I've kind of suggested it, but they create cultures of trust, engagement, and innovation. They inspire instead of manage, and they have a bigger picture perspective rather than micromanaging. They create a more trusting, supportive environment where organizations can grow because their leadership is really operating from clarity, authenticity, and vision. And that really allows others to feel safer. It feels like you're bringing out the best in them. They feel like they're part of something that's important and valuable. So, yeah. So if what we've shared today resonates with you, if you're ready to break free from those old patterns that are keeping you trapped in cycles of achievement without fulfillment, Karen and I, along with our team of coaches, work with very select number of achievers who are ready for this deeper work. Yeah, we can't do it for you, but you have to want it. You have to be ready for it. We don't just teach coping strategies. We help you heal the root causes so that you can experience both success and peace. You see so many people out there teaching you how to act as if or to get through certain situations. This is about you becoming a confident, authentic human being that you're capable of being so that you know what to say, you know how to handle things. So if you're curious about working with us directly, you can schedule a complimentary consultation with either Kara or I. You can just look in the chat or the link below.
So, guys, it is your responsibility to change these patterns. It is on you. You can't outhustle your wounds, but you can heal them. And when you do, you'll discover what leaders like Ariana Huffington have learned, that real success includes well-being, not despite it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having the courage to look at what most people spend their lives avoiding.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.